all of our creativity comes from like life and our experiences. So you need to go experience that if you want to get a reboot.
Well, hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Put It on the Counter. And today's guest, I have Cory to my right, and I have Sid to my left. We're going to be talking about balancing the P's in your creative life. That comes with pivoting, progression, and perfectionism. So I'm going to ask Cory and Sid a couple questions just to get a flow of the conversation, get into a deep dive of how they are as creatives. And yeah, we're going to have a segment afterwards called The Cat's Out the Bag. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be really dope, where we get inclusive and just allow our ideas to really pop in the midst of fire, damn near. So let's get into it. First things first, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing really good. I can't complain. You know, it's a beautiful day outside. LA vibes. I'm here and blessed.
How about you, Sid?
Good, stressed. It's a beautiful day, but I don't think I'll be able to see it.
Okay, okay.
I won't be outside for the rest of the day.
Through the project so far, how have you guys felt like as far as just like the process going through not just our client briefs, but just like the everyday of getting like agency stuff?
Okay, so for me, what I would say the biggest thing for me been my learning curve has been adjusting to other professionals in this space as far as just the speed of an agency and the flows of how an agency moves once they get a brief, and just working with other talented people and learning their processes and applying those processes to myself, but also sharing my processes and feeling a way we can complement each other with.
What about you, Sid?
Yeah, no, I agree with Cory. I think we have like a happy medium with the amount of people we have in our agency. Like we can get things done quickly because there's not too many levels, but I also think because we're collaborative, like we get a lot of ideas and we can like bounce off of each other. So I really like working like with this agency and like figuring out what how I fit into it like as a piece. And I also think yeah, like I've never had agency experience, so this is a really good start and I feel like I can see myself doing this in the future too.
I could definitely second that as well. Just working with you guys has been like super fun so far, and we've all been able to put our like creative egos to the side and just really come as a collective. So I think it's super dope, and it's only the beginning for us and the Corner Store agency as well, um, to really set things up and make things happen. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is pivoting. I think pivoting in general is a common trait that a lot of us creators go to, whether it be our roles that we're pivoting or a job that we're pivoting. We're always going through some type of different process where we have to redefine ourselves and stuff. So the first question I have to you guys is, how do you know when to pivot versus push through a tough creative idea? And I'll start with Sid for this one.
Um, I think when a creative idea feels a little bit too forced and you can't say why you're doing it, then I feel like then it's at that point that you need to pivot because if you're just doing it just to do it at that point and you don't have a deeper meaning or deeper understanding of like why what you're creating is important, then I think, and it's being too forced, then I think you need to pivot at that point. Sometimes you do need to push through because of like deadlines, etc. But I think having purpose behind what you're doing can help guide that.
What about you, Corey?
I would say making work that's authentic. You know what I mean? I would say that. I think that when you're making work that truly reflects of the message you're trying to get out and the message is intended for, I think without authenticity, that is when you should keep going pushing that message. But I would say when it's not resonating and not hitting that brief or that goal or whatever, like what you had set in mind, that's when I think that you should be able to pivot and go from there.
I said when it comes to pivoting on a personal aspect of like a project that you're really invested to, do you feel like it hurts more than actually like trying to get into a new project itself?
I think so. Was that thing? I would say so. I think so. I think that when you pivot on a personal project and you have to pivot on, you initially when you were making that plan for that project, you were thinking like, hey, I had this expectation to get this done. But then when you're on the fly, you have to just adjust. And that's just how it is in real life. In real time, it's how life operates. That you have to pivot. It's just like, dang, I didn't get to do everything that I wanted to do, but you have to be adaptable.
What about you, Sid?
Um, yeah, I think it depends on how far along you are in the process, but I think that sometimes pivoting is like gives you a better result than you expected, and maybe that's where you were supposed to end up anyway. So I feel like I think I'm a pretty adaptable person. So when a pivot does happen, I don't get in like too much of a frenzy, and I think that you just work with what you have and do the best that you can, but sometimes a pivot can lead to a better result than you thought.
Can I say one more thing? So nothing to piggyback off actually off of what Sidney said. Something that I've been learning is not to marry your idea.
Mhm.
That's been something I've really been learning in my whole experience here at the corner store. Is that when you fall in love with a certain idea, from there it's like when it doesn't go that way because sometimes clients have a different different directions they want to go. But when you don't marry that idea, it allows you just to stay flexible and go from there. And at the end of the day, realizing this is a job we have to do, and we're here to to serve the client.
Yeah, the whole thing, all of what we do is basically pivoting. It's always changing.
And even staying within pivoting, but going into a new topic when it comes to perfectionism. Do you think perfectionism ever gets in the way, especially when having to pivot ideas?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think when it comes to perfectionism and with pivoting, I think at times you can start overthinking because now you start thinking, oh, hey, like this has to be, you have a certain standard for yourself already. But then after that, when you're doing work with other clients, you're already overthinking about how they can meet their needs and everything like that. So for me, I would say it's just like you got sometimes knowing when to step away. I feel like living life and touching grass are key parts when it comes to that. Like being able to close a laptop when ideas aren't going and forcing and you're forcing them. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think when it comes to perfectionism, it's definitely like tied to ego. So I think I feel more of a perfectionist. I have more of a perfectionist mindset when I'm doing personal projects and I'm with a group because I'm already in the mindset of like my idea is not final and that I'm totally open to changing it and that, the I feel like if you're in a group that has a similar standard, then perfectionists won't get in the way because we all have a high standard. So I think having a standard and being a perfectionist is a little different. But can tend to get too granular and too perfectionist and not put work out, even because I think it's not perfect if it's me personally. But I think when it's in a group, that ego can kind of go away, and I feel like it's easier to not have that mentality for me.
And I think that's a beautiful way to say or explain the difference between like ego and being perfect.
Mhm.
Because when people think of ego, it's just like it's my way or nothing.
Mhm.
And most of the time, ego does come with like some type of anger, but that anger is a confusion of like passion.
Mhm.
That person is just really committed to what their idea is and stuff. Um, and even if it isn't perfect in somebody else's eyes, it's perfect in their eyes. So I really do appreciate y'all for that answer because it definitely opened up my mind um, to just the different possibilities. But Corey, you had mentioned something about touching grass and just, the ability to stop in motion. And I think that's another thing within being a perfectionist, even at times, it's like, nah, everything has to be like right now. And if it isn't right now, then I won't be really able to expand to that next level. So, how do you know when to stop editing, tweaking, or overthinking things?
That's a really good question. I would say when first off, well, easy answer is when nothing's getting edited on the screen. I would say something like that. But in a serious answer, I would say when it's just like I'm not solving problems. I think our creativity as far as like problem solving, and I think that when I'm editing and things are flowing in that flow state, that's when I really be able to get in my zone and be able to put great work out. But then whenever it's just I'm stuck, I'm stagnant, I can't get nothing to flow. That's why I realized like, hey, I gotta just do something. For myself, coming from an athletic background, being a former college athlete, I would go, go for a walk or I go play basketball or go for a quick workout or something like that, get my body moving. And then after that, it usually sharpens up my mind. And then that allows me to go back into my workflow and produce great work.
So, what about you, Sid?
Yeah, I feel like when I need to stop editing or tweaking stuff, at least for the day, is when my brain stops working. You know what I mean? Like, and then oftentimes you can't come up with ideas, and oftentimes when you step away from it, then the ideas come to you, and then you can pop back like when necessary and get back to work. But I think all of our creativity comes from like life and our experiences, so you need to go experience that if you want to get a reboot to go back.
And then just the ability to be present, I guess, for all of us creatives is something that I wouldn't say tend to lack, but it's just like our best ideas come when we allow ourselves to think outside of the idea itself. Um, so just being honest and having that clarity and that grace to know that, hey, like it might not just all be clicking right now, but if you go on a walk or if you play basketball or if you decide to skate or whatever it may be. It's just like I get those little hints of imagination in that. So that's pretty dope. Now pivoting, not even just pivoting, now going into progression. I feel like with all of us, we've all had our moments where it's just like it's not clicking right now. But that failure then leads to a success factor in so much way. So has failure ever led you to something better creatively? I'll start with you first, Sid.
Um, I think definitely, and also it's like how you kind of define failure. I don't think there's actually maybe. I don't think there's like complete failure when it comes to like creative ideas. It's just like it just didn't work for that scenario. It didn't solve this problem. Like it might work for something else. But failure, I don't even like using that word, but like creative mishaps, I think have definitely led to better results for me. I can't think of a specific scenario because I feel like it happens in every creative pursuit. Like you do something, okay, this doesn't work. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix this. But I think if you're always trying to adjust, then the end result can never be a true failure.
That's really good. I think that when it comes to any type of mishap, creative mishaps, I think by a key part to learn from that is by just like taking notes and learning what was it that didn't connect, that was didn't get us that successful goal we were trying to go for, and using that to apply for the future and going from there. So pretty much what Sid said, I really agree. There's no real such thing as failure, and just whether it was opportunities that didn't go, at the end of the day, God has a reason and a calling for us. So just knowing that, trusting Him, being patient with that, that's going to be the way to get us where we need to go.
This episode is sponsored by Illuminate. If you're into activewear, we got you covered. We're all about inspiring women to shine anytime, anywhere through their identity in Christ. Find us on all socials at Illuminate, and don't forget to check out our website, illuminate.com. Big thanks to Put It on the Counter podcast, The Corner Store, and the Marcus Graham Project for making this possible. Now, back to the show.
And do you guys both think that like redefining what success looks like? Have you guys experienced when did you guys like actually experience like redefining success? Because at times, like from the outside looking in, success may feel like just achievements, like awards or accomplishments, certifications. But sometimes our idea of success is just getting up and actually giving that full effort to do whatever it may be. So, what do you guys think?
I think I can go first. Success means a lot of different things to different people, and I think knowing what's important for you and like what defines success for you will help you with that because, some people value awards, some people value whether the pursuit made them feel fulfilled or whether their family liked it or if it's being like shared or impacting people. So I think kind of choosing what you define as success and that being pivoted like in different stages of your life is also important. For me, I think I used to think success was by how many people respected the work, how many people approved of the work, like externally. And I think now it's a little bit more internal. If I'm proud of the work and if I think it solves a problem, and if other people do like it, that's good too. But I feel like I'm less defined by like numbers and awards now, and more about if I like the work myself and if I'm proud of it.
So for me, I think before you do anything, you should be able to like define what you're trying to achieve when it comes to that. I think that for myself is just to keep playing the game. I think keep growing and developing and breaking it down like that. I think that that's a key part. I think a lot of times people always look at, you said, material things, whether it's a certain destination, but as far as just constant growth and constant development. And I think when you fall back thinking on that type of way of thinking, whenever the dark days you're going through something, you can always look back and be like, hey, like this, like last year I was in this position. This is a whole new opportunity that I'm embracing now, and I'm doing more than I did in the past. So these are things I look at just to compete with yourself and going from there.
So, and even adding on to what you just said, you being in different positions now that you didn't think were fit for you and stuff. I think that rolls off perfectly into my next question for both of you guys. What is it like to see yourself progress through this program when it comes to agency life?
It's a really good process. I would say, like, when it comes to seeing myself progress in this, is really just being able to present like my work, my creative skill set, but in a professional corporate setting, and also doing that with clients, with Fortune 500 companies that we're working with. I think that's a beautiful thing to do. So I think just being able to, apply what I'm doing, but just in a more of a structured environment.
No, I agree. I mean, everything I'm doing in this is I'm learning it kind of for the first time, at least in this setting. I might have the skills, but it's just applied in a different way and learning how to do that properly. I also think the thing I'm most proud of is like opening myself up and networking to people because that's kind of something that I was kind of hesitant to do before. So actually, asking questions of people, starting conversations, feeling like I'm actually growing a connection with that person so that later down the line, if I would like help, advice, etc., like I can reach out and it doesn't seem as transactional because we do have like a relationship. So I think the networking aspect I'm definitely improving on and like proud of too.
This episode is sponsored by Hoop Diaries. We're all about documenting the emotions that emanate from the game of basketball. If you're looking to have your story told, we've got you covered. Players, teams, organizations, programs, you name it, we'll be there. You can find us on Instagram at hoopdiaries_, and check out our website, hoopdiaries.blog. Big thanks to the Put It On the Counter podcast, the Corner Store, and the Marcus Graham Project for making this possible. Now, back to the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are about to get started with our first game segment, the Cat's Out the Bag. Both guests will receive a creative prompt and have under 90 seconds to think of the best commercial idea. It must feature a character, a city location to shoot, a target audience to reach, and a call to action. Both guests right now have notebooks in their hand, and this is all meant to challenge their creative insight on the fly. So I'm going to give a countdown. I'm going to say go, and then they're going to think. You guys ready?
Yep.
Let's do it.
And here's the creative prompt. Levi's is looking for a music artist to headline their upcoming fall collection. They have a new line of denim jeans and jackets that showcase sophistication while keeping it swag. Think of an idea that features an artist, city to have production, target audience to reach, and a call to action. You guys have 90 seconds. Understood?
Understood.
Yep. Yes.
Let's get it.
Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, go. Now they're writing. They're really getting into it. Yep. Challenging your creative insights on the fly is very interesting. It allows people to think as quick as possible. Same way like an agency, you have to think about the people that are going to be in the commercial or ad placement, think about the locations. So it's a challenge to ourselves within the program that we're already in. So it's looking good. One minute. Okay, we're about 1 minute in. Oh, it's a minute. Okay, we're about a minute left. They're thinking, they're writing. 30 seconds left. 30 seconds. I like how both quiet. They're very quiet right now.
You should be quiet.
I'm trying, but I'm 15 seconds left. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down. Cool. Who would like?
Okay. So my approach to this. So I live in Dallas, Texas, currently right now. So with that being said, the character I decided was a singer from Dallas as well, Leon Bridges. He's a soulful singer. Has a lot of that old, old essence to himself, the way he carries himself, especially in his music. I think that resonates a lot with the denim, especially his cowboy culture over there in Dallas, Texas. So I thought that was a good way to connect those dots. As far as the city, would be in Dallas. Location specifically in Dallas would be the Stockyards. It's kind of a very much Western kind of vibe. So I feel like that'd be a really good opportunity to, to take that out, take advantage of that. And then the target audience would be from ages of 25 to 40. Usually, I'm looking at men and women around that age because they be able to, have the money to buy those jeans. And not only just that, that sophistication. They want to be able to be active, but also have that sophistication that comes with it. And then my call to action would be wear your soul. to wear your soul on your clothes, and going from there. So that's what I got.
That's dope. That's dope.
Damn, that's a good
What's up, Sid?
one.
What's up? What you think of?
Okay, so I chose. I mean, I had a couple characters in mind. I'm going to talk about all of them, but obviously they're already using Beyonce, so I feel like we can tap into that. She already did a Levi's commercial with their denim. I was thinking like Shabuzi and Bad Bunny to go to other target audiences as well, and tap into that. My city location, I was thinking of Houston, um, as a location, and then location for production, I was thinking of a couple sets. So like I feel like the ad can kind of travel from like a rodeo, or like a, just like watching it, or like being a part of it, or like kind of like a that that vibe. And then they also wear the same outfit and they go to like kind of a more like an event, or like a more important setting. Not important, but like a more sophisticated setting, to try to tap into that target audience. I was thinking like 20 to 45. And call to action, I was having trouble with like the copy, but I was just like, the my idea was that they can wear the denim any and everywhere, and it can apply to multiple spaces. So I was like, Levi's, like, ooh, my handwriting is bad because I was writing fast. Levi's, for everyone everywhere, but like, wear spelled like with EAR. Um, yeah, so I was just thinking they could do that. I had a lot of, yeah, like, ideas. I couldn't choose one. So
What was like one of the best things you guys learned out of like thinking on the fly, especially within a creative prompt? Because realistically, in agency life, like what Pawnee said, like with the Love Hurts ad for Jordan, like they had to think of that in a week. You guys just started something in 90 seconds. So what is it like to like really challenge yourselves that quick, um, in a situation like this?
I would say it forces you to, either sink or swim, but in a good way. You have to adapt. I think that's the whole premise when it comes to advertising. From my background, usually a lot of my stuff, I was planning things. It'd be projects I would work and I have time to plan on. But I think just exercises like this forces you to just, just to go on the fly and just have fun with it. But then be sharp and be intentional and making sure that everything that you're thinking of, how can I focus on what's the ask and going from there.
What about you, Sid?
yeah, I agree with Corey. I think I was like, okay, I can think of stuff pretty quick, you know what I mean? And if I'm forced to, so I think we can definitely adapt when it's necessary to think quickly. Yeah. I need to do more prompts like this. That's what I
For sure.
think.
Facts.
Yeah.
Thank you guys once again for watching the first episode of the Put It on the Counter podcast. Hope you guys got a lot of creative insight, not only from me, but from Corey and Sid. Before we outro the whole show out, Corey, where could they find you at?
Yes, you can follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram at Cory N Hicks. Simple as that. My name CoryNHicks.
You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Sidney Cherry, Sidney, cherry like the fruit, and on Instagram at Sid Cherry 24.
And lastly, I'm your host, Jamyr Greene. You guys can find me on Instagram at @mirrorofficial_. Find Hoop Diaries _, which is my basketball brand, on Instagram as well too. Website mirrorofficial.com and website hoopdiaries.blog. Lastly, I would like to thank you guys once again for watching the first episode of the Put It on the Counter podcast. Make sure you guys follow all our socials on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Make sure you visit our website of what is to come for our agency. Also, too, we would like to thank Giant Spoon for allowing us to create in this space. And we would also like to thank Marcus Graham Project for powering this first episode and the many more that are left to come. Once again, make sure you guys tune in, subscribe to the channel, follow us, and everything else. Appreciate you guys once again. And thank you very much. This is the Put It on the Counter podcast. Peace.